Hey guys, ZeroArmada here. So last video someone kind of requested for me to do a little tutorial video on how to control gun recoil, gun spread. Most part it's going to be pretty basic. I mean, if you play other games you'll probably have a good grasp of what I'm going to be talking about, so it's going to be pretty cut and dry. A couple of small intricate details here and there, but for the most part it's going to be pretty basic and pretty clear. First thing off the bat, every gun pretty much first shot is going to be pinpoint, so wherever you aim, first shot is always going to connect where exactly you aim, if that makes sense. Keep in mind that some scopes aren't aligned properly, so even if you aim somewhere you think you're aiming, it might not be actually pinpoint because of the fact that some of the scopes aren't aligned. So that's kind of something you have to kind of play around with and see where you actually shoot when you scope down or aim down sight. So keep that in mind. But yeah, pretty much every weapon's gonna behave differently, so the best thing to do would be like to just go into a training room, get your gun and just like shoot it at the wall and see how it behaves with what kind of movements you do, like moving, sideways, going backwards, all that stuff. I mean, that's all good to know. I mean, it's all muscle memory pretty much, so once you get to know your gun, once you know how your gun behaves, you're pretty much good to go. So for this gun, pretty much I'm just going to do a couple shots. So this is pretty much a HAR. I think it's probably the best example for this kind of a video. As you can see, HAR kind of typically just goes diagonally to the left. It's not cut and dry, but it's pretty close. It just kind of shoots a little bit straight up, then it goes to your left, and that's for hip fire. ADS, it's kind of the same thing, but it's a lot more linear in that way. So there's a couple ways you can kind of compensate for recoil. For the HAR specifically, what you want to do, and for any gun specifically, there's a couple ways you can do it. Like I said, first way would be to kind of guide your path in a way where it'll intercept your target. So let's just say our target's this dude right here, or this line. This line's are going to be your target right here. First thing you can do kind of is shoot your gun in a way where your recoil pattern will intersect your guy. So if I'm ADSing, as you saw earlier, it was just pretty much a straight line. So a couple ways you can do it. First way, typically for the HAR, what I like to do is just aim for the feet, and then the recoil will just kick it up and, you know, pretty much shoot in a straight line and kill them. If you're actually hip firing, you might want to do it in a way where you're actually a little bit to the right of your target, so that once you shoot, the recoil pattern basically goes up and kind of kicks up and starts hitting them. And that's kind of what I mean by like, intersecting your target with the recoil pattern. That's kind of one way of doing it. The other way would be just to pretty much compensate straight up for your recoil and drag down your mouse. So when you're shooting, you want to, this is something you probably want to, like, you know, get used to with your gun, because like I said, some guns behave differently. You don't really know how much your recoil is going to kick up based on your parts and all that stuff. So that's kind of something you just have to get used to and kind of learn how much your gun travels every time you shoot it. But pretty much you just want to drag down your mouse when you're shooting. As you can see right there, I mean, all the bullets are pretty compact. They're not showing all the decals, but for the most part you have a small grouping of bullets compared to me just shooting without actually controlling the recoil, which is just pretty much a straight line up. So that's kind of another way of doing it. Other things you can do just to kind of get used to it, your recoil patterns, is kind of moving sideways. And for the most part, most guns it's kind of linear sideways. So for instance, if you're going to be shooting sideways to your right, you may want to actually kind of aim for your target on the left side, if that makes sense. So like as you can see right here, it's pretty much just a straight line to your right. So maybe you want to aim a little bit to the left of your target, so by the time you get there, you kind of intersect them that way. And likewise, vice versa, if you're going to your left, you might want to aim to your right when you're shooting them. So you're pretty much just kind of spot on. Same thing kind of backwards. Backwards, it's kind of similar to going straight, but it's a lot more grouped. So you kind of want to avoid shooting backwards. No one really plays backwards anyways. But sometimes, you know, you're in certain situations where you just have to go backwards, or you might, instead of having to turn around for whatever reason. So keep that in mind as well. But that's pretty much it. I mean, it's pretty basic. You just have to really get used to the recoil patterns and just kind of play around with it and tinker with it. Jumping, kind of nerf jumping in a sense, but it's a little bit more random. So you really don't want to have to jump unless you like know for sure you're gonna kill them, because the first couple shots, like I said, first shot's always pinpoint, but after that it's pretty much hectic in that sense. So if you know you're gonna kill them fast, you can always resort to the jump shot. But I mean, pretty much you want to stick to ground and stick to the recoil patterns and the weapon patterns you know. And for the most part, some weapons, like I said, the HAR specifically is a good example here because it has a predictable recoil pattern. Assault rifle, SMG, all that stuff, they don't have as predictable as a recoil pattern. I mean, in a sense, you have a general idea of where they're gonna go, but you really don't know how much they're gonna bloom and how much they're gonna actually sway off their recoil patterns every time you shoot them. So that's kind of why it's a little bit more poker's game with the assault rifle and those kind of weapons. But like I said, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. Just kind of a basic tutorial on how to control spread and recoil. So, yep. Thanks for watching as always, guys. Appreciate it.